Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are unraveling a literal astronomical mystery. We're looking at a discovery from 2025 that frankly completely broke the established rules of physics. I mean, it forced us to rethink our entire understanding of the cosmos. We're talking about an event so unbelievably massive and so bizarre that scientists actually thought their instruments were playing tricks on them at first. So let's just dive right into it. The LVK collaboration, the LIGO, Virgo, and Kagra observatories, they are these incredibly sensitive facilities built to detect the absolute most violent events in the universe. But in 2025, they picked up a signal that completely defied all of our standard models of how the universe is supposed to work. They found this mind-bending anomaly just floating out there in the deep, darkest expanse of space. That anomaly actually has a name. It's known as GW231123. It was a cataclysmic merger of two immense black holes, completely locked in this fatal gravitational dance. But you have to understand, this wasn't just another blip on the radar for astronomers. No, this set an absolute impossible record. To put the scale of this into perspective, the previous record holder for a black hole merger created a final object weighing in at 140 solar masses, which is impressive, right? That is 140 times the mass of our sun. But GW231123, it produced a final object of a staggering 225 solar masses. So it didn't just, inch past the previous record. It completely smashed it. But here's the kicker. The sheer size record isn't even the most fascinating part of all this. The real mystery, the thing that was literally keeping astrophysicists up at night, is the fact that these black holes fall straight into what we call the forbidden mass gap. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly makes a size forbidden? Well, according to standard stellar evolution, physics dictates a very strict boundary. The mass gap is this theoretical rule that says dying stars simply cannot collapse into black holes of a certain specific mid-range size. Basically, a supernova either blows the star completely apart, leaving nothing behind at all, or it leaves a much smaller core. It's a textbook rule of stellar death. But this new discovery, it blatantly ignored that rule. Let's look at the exact numbers. That forbidden zone sits right between 60 and 130 solar masses. Stars just do not collapse into black holes of that specific size, period. Yet, the two initial black holes that crashed into each other here weighed roughly 100 and 140 solar masses. That 100 solar mass black hole lands directly in the middle of this impossible zone. Like the researchers themselves noted, it's basically a giant middle finger to our current models of how stars live and die. Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question. If standard stellar collapse says these black holes are theoretically forbidden, how on earth do impossible black holes actually exist? I mean, take a second to really think about that. If they couldn't have been born from a dying star, where in the universe did they actually come from? Well, the answer is honestly as terrifying as it is fascinating. These are not your standard first-generation black holes born from a single star. No, they are what we call cosmic cannibals. They had to have grown through incredibly violent means. So here's how this hierarchical merger theory actually works. It's like a giant cosmic tournament. Step 1. Smaller, perfectly normal, rule-abiding black holes form from collapsed stars. Step 2. Over eons, floating around in densely packed star clusters, they find each other. They merge. They essentially eat each other. And they grow, slowly climbing up the weight classes until they enter that forbidden mass gap. And finally, step 3. The massive survivors of these ancient rumbles violently collide. That's how you bypass the rules of a single star's death. You build an impossible black hole by mashing smaller ones together over billions of years. And because these objects were forged in such a chaotic history of previous collisions, their final meeting wasn't exactly a smooth, graceful dance. The mechanics of this merger were so incredibly chaotic that scientists described the whole system as a wobbly, spinning top. Let me give you a sense of that chaos. If we use Earth's steady 24-hour rotation as a baseline, a 1x spin, the black holes in this merger were spinning at nearly the absolute limit allowed by general relativity. They were rotating an astonishing 4 million times faster than Earth. Just try to visualize that for a second. An object 100 times heavier than our sun, spinning millions of times faster than our home planet. It's almost unimaginable. Because of that extreme rotation, again, 4 million times the spin of Earth, the immense gravitational forces were literally warping space-time itself. It caused the entire binary system to wobble intensely. It behaved exactly like a dying spinning top, violently lurching and shaking right before it finally crashed together and stabilized into that massive 225 solar mass giant. So, taking a step back from the massive numbers and the really intense physics for a second, why does a record-breaking, wobbling, cannibalistic black hole merger actually matter to us? Well, because it forces us to listen to new songs of the universe. This discovery is absolute proof that our current textbooks are incomplete. I want to leave you with this beautiful thought from the research material, and I think it hits the nail on the head. We're basically just starting to hear the tones of the universe, and the first few songs we're hearing are completely improvisational. For centuries, we've only been able to look at the universe using light, but now, with detectors like LVK, we can actually feel the gravitational vibrations of these massive collisions. We are finally listening to the universe's tones. And right out of the gate, the universe is throwing impossible jazz at us, breaking all the rules we thought we knew. It really makes you wonder, if the very first songs we're tuning into feature impossible, cannibalistic black holes, just how much weirder is the rest of the cosmos going to be? Keep that question in mind the next time you look up at the night sky. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.